So, have you ever watched one of those 1000 days hardcore YouTubers and thought to yourself, maybe I can do this? Maybe I can reach 1000 days of Minecraft hardcore without dying, and then you open a new world and die within the first few minutes. So then you try again. And again. And again. If that is the case, then use some of these tips the next time you create a new world. First tip, utilize important items such as shields, water buckets and a bed. The shields are fairly self-explanatory as to why you need them, but are very useful for early game when you can't tank much damage. Always have the shield in your offhand since it prevents 100% of damage taken when blocking, including creeper explosions. However, if your shield breaks and you are in a situation where you can't get another one, you can easily block a creeper explosion another way. What you are going to want to do is place a block in front of you before the creeper is about to explode. That way, the block will absorb the majority of the damage you take, and you can survive to make another shield. Water buckets can be used for MLG clutches so that you can get down from an elevated position quickly, or can also be used to climb up walls to escape mobs. Tip 2. Never underestimate mobs in any circumstances. I see lots of hardcore deaths where people are just underestimating early game mobs, since they are so used to tanking their hits, and end up getting overwhelmed by them even though they should have been an easy kill. This happens especially often whenever an endgame player wears an elytra and fights mobs. For example, Philza literally died to a baby zombie and a spider in his world record hardcore world, just because he was wearing an elytra instead of a chest plate. If he had been wearing a chest plate, he probably wouldn't have died, because wearing an elytra means you have to sacrifice 4 armor bars, which would almost reduce the amount of protection you get from your armor by half. And anyway, it's not like there's really any situations where you're actually gonna need an elytra underground, so you might as well just put your chest plate on, because if it's the difference between life and death, then you might as well just do it. Tip 3. Always be aware of your surroundings. Another typical way that lots of people die is from lack of awareness of what is around them, so they end up falling into a ravine or getting jumped by a creeper when it could have been easily avoided. For example, this is what happens when a creeper jumps down on you from the top of a ravine. If a creeper jumps down on you like that, there's almost no way that you can react in time before you die. This is why it's important to be aware of your surroundings, otherwise you could end up losing yet another hardcore world. To avoid dying of full damage, try and get Feather Falling 4 on your boots as quickly as possible since it reduces full damage by a lot. Here's the same clip from earlier where I fall into a ravine, except this time I've got Feather Falling 4. As you can see, I survive the fall and take a significantly smaller amount of damage than I did before without it. Tip 4. Always be prepared to die at any moment. I know how this sounds in a video about trying not to die, but if you create a hardcore world, you just have to accept the fact that you will eventually die and lose all of your hard work. So if you don't want to lose hours of work, then maybe it isn't a good idea to create a hardcore world in the first place. Otherwise you might end up like this guy.
Green, what's your problem, Green? What is your problem? Missile alone ramp.
Anyway, those were some important tips for Minecraft Hardcore that will help you reach 1000 days. Subscribe if you enjoyed and comment Obama if you watched to the end.